Hello and welcome to Glitch Cube, we're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again as we dive further into the world of games. So first off, I want to say thank you guys for, bearing with us with a little bit of a break there from last week. Life gets in the way, things get busy, and there's a lot of things that we had to handle, but we hope that you enjoyed the episode that we threw out there, went along with the mechanics episodes that we've been putting out, and it was one of our favorites on the death mechanics, one of the first ones we did actually on diving into game mechanics specifically. So this week we are going to be talking about gaming memories, and with the release of Final Fantasy coming out like very, very soon here, we are very excited, and we wanted to just dive into our memories of Final Fantasy VII a little bit more, kind of talk about the new game coming out, everything, just all of it all in one, and just our expectations, what we're looking forward to, maybe some of the new quirks that would be coming up with this new title that maybe some people are not expecting, especially after playing Remake. I feel like this one's going to have a very different vibe to it for sure. But there's, this game holds a near and dear place in our hearts. It's always on the top of the list of top JRPGs, top RPGs out there, especially for the PlayStation 1 era. It's a lot of people's first, version or first dive into the genre itself, especially for those of us in our 30s. This was the game that started it all, or it could have been the first one that we played. So it's always been put on that pedestal, and it's just an exciting time. So why don't we just jump right in? I know we've talked about it a lot on this show. I mean, it's kind of hard not to. But what's one of your favorite aspects of Final Fantasy VII? What was something that you loved doing in it that might not be the most conventional or most, expected aspect of the game?
Ooh.
I know, throwing you for a loop. Question we didn't prep for.
I know. I'm like, usually my go-to is always the music, because the music always stands out to me. But
yeah.
Honestly, I loved the amount of it. Well, okay. Before that, I really liked exploring in that world. For some weird reason, it had such pretty pre-rendered cities and towns and just the environments, and I loved just looking at everything, because as someone who grew up on a console for the most part, I wasn't used to pre-rendered backgrounds like that, because I know that was more of a PC thing, and I just loved sitting at it and staring at those visuals. But something that I really loved about 7 especially was that there was a lot of side stuff and hidden stuff in it that up until that point I had mostly played JRPGs, growing up. It was either that or platformers. Those are my two big things, and I don't remember much in the way of side stuff in a lot of those older games. I feel like Chrono Trigger had some, but it wasn't extensive. Mm-hmm. But when 7 had it, I was like, oh my god, there's all these weapons to fight. There's Knights of the Round and all this kind of stuff. And it was so much fun just finding all this stuff and then reading the strategy guide. I remember
I didn't get this game guide. I just stared at the artwork for so long. Yeah.
I miss those old strategy guides, because it would just be for me, I would go to Borders, and my brother would go off into sci-fi, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the game section. Usually it was always the games, and then I would go to music, and I would listen to CDs when you can still scan the barcodes. But
God, I miss that. That was such a fun. Sorry, that just kind of awoke something in me. Going down there, you just grab your CD, you scan it, it pulls up the full playlist, and you can listen to bits of the songs, right? That was
it was awesome. I found so much cool music that way. That's how I really learned so many different genres and artists, because
Yeah, it
it's
made
like,
you explore.
yeah, it was cool. And there was like sometimes there'd be like one song that would play fully out of it
Mhm.
where the rest were samples. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
between that in the game section, I would just sit there and I would read strategy guides for like an hour or two, just looking at the art and looking at the world and the stages. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I remember Final Fantasy VII's, because it was kind of a bigger book. And I was like, this looks amazing, because I didn't get it right away. I'm probably going to save this for a little bit after, because I know you were asking me for what my favorite thing of this was.
Yeah, no worries.
But for me, I think it's like just, the amount of surprises that game had for a young mind, basically. Nowadays we expect hidden, harder bosses, side stuff. But for me, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I never experienced it back then. So, yeah, just the curiosity that game gave me was cool. But what about
Yeah.
you?
This definitely was the first game that had what I would say like side missions, right? Or like hidden things that I played personally.
Mm-hmm.
It was like my first experience in that where there's secret bosses, there's new things, there's like the Ultima weapons, and just trying to go out and find those things was so much fun. And I going back to the strategy guide real quick, like I remember my copy like to the T. I bought it used and the cover was all ripped, so I got it for like $2. But I love that thing. I carried it with me. It was in my book bag. I just would look at the artwork and I would read about the areas even after playing them. I think I read that guide cover to cover before actually like playing the game itself. I was just so fascinated and enthralled in this. And we don't get that anymore. I don't feel like I feel that way about games anymore, which is kind of sad. But with how many games we get coming out, where it's like, okay, I beat this one, now on to the next one, right? It's literally like
Mm-hmm.
same day, new game, here we go, right? Being able to jump in, it, it's tough. You don't get that sense of like just a really really meaningful, deep experience. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I absolutely loved about this game, it was the summons themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love the summon system, and 7 for me was like the top. It was like the most memorable summons of back in the day. I know that they're in every Final Fantasy, but for some reason, like Ifrit, Ifrit is my man. Like he is my favorite summon to this day because of Final Fantasy 7. The way he looked in that when he does Hellfire, oh my gosh, I love that stuff. Like it just was such a great look, such an amazing like rendering. Back then the graphics were, looking back at it now, it's not that great, but it just was something so memorable to me. And every single chance I get to have Ifrit in my party, I don't care if there's stronger summons, I have them, right? Like I just always have to have Ifrit there. And I feel like that kind of like bled over into Pokemon as well. Like Charmander was my first pick. Like there's something about the art style of Fire that is so cool, and they do it so right and just make it that much more interesting. Like even in World of Final Fantasy, I got Ifrit right away and he never left my party. Like he was just a constant until like throughout the entire game, never left. It was Ifrit and Shiva, and I always like dive into those. But being able to find the hidden summons was a really memorable thing for me, and I loved it. And when I got Knights of the Round, oh, it was just like the cherry on top. I thought that was such an amazing move, and having it just trigger in like these battle sequences, I loved just watching the scene play out in front of me and just making every single battle feel that much more epic and just that much grander. And it's just so funny looking back at like for instance, is it Gaia, right? Like his or Terra. I can't remember what they called him in this one, but the Earth Elemental, like
Oh, Titan?
Titan. Whenever he flips the stage, right? Like he just
Oh,
totally straight
yeah.
up flips the table, and you see everything like tilt at a 45. The world flips over, and then it's just like and we're standing. We're good. It's like, okay, sure, why not? So I love like how kind of obnoxious those things were, but I absolutely love those sequences. And it made even like the final boss fights that much bigger whenever you're able to just nuke someone with like Knights of the Round, Bahamut, send out your Hellfires, right? Like just go crazy with Diamond Dust and everything and just go nuts with it. So yeah, the summons are my favorite part of the Final Fantasies for sure.
I think you hit it right there too. Like that actually is my favorite thing of the Final Fantasies too, because it's like, with 10 we have it where they're almost like Pokemon, right? Which is awesome. And then like each Final Fantasy does something different with the summons. But I remember with 7, they just felt grand.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many of them too. Like I was looking at it just now and I'm like, oh, there was 16. Not including the Master Summon, which I didn't even know existed, which is insane.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess it summons every summon.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, because I was looking at this list and I remember Odin like blowing my mind as a kid. I was like, this guy's so cool,
Him shooting the lightning in a radial pattern. Like that. What's so great about this game is I remember, like, Final Fantasy X, all that. Like, it's cool being able to play with those summons and actually use them. But
Yeah.
I don't remember their sequences as heavily as I remember Sevens. With like the Diamond Dust, the Hellfire, like those cutscenes are like ingrained in my mind now.
Yeah, I think the only one in 10 I remember is Anima, just because it was so like
that was bizarre.
looking.
That was a trip. That one, as soon as I got Anima, I was like, yes, please. That and Yojimbo. Yojimbo was awesome.
Oh yeah, like those secret summons in that game are really cool. Even the Mangus sisters are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But with 7, it was cool because I hadn't really played 6 before 7, because I was just too young, and because obviously I think it has like double the amount of summons in that game. And looking at this, it's like interesting how some Final Fantasies will have way more summons than the other. And I know with 8, I feel like they picked a lot of weird ones. Like I felt like there wasn't a lot of these classics. Like when you look at 7's list, it's like a lot of the summons that are in all the other ones, right? You got Alexander, you got Bahamut, Leviathan, Phoenix. Like it's just, oh my god, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then, like I was saying earlier with Knights of the Round, like I remember being so proud of myself for actually getting that, because it's like, I don't know, for me, like I didn't get it the first time I played the game, right? Because I was young. But the second time I played it as I got older, because it's such a process, right? You have to beat the ruby weapon, which weapons are really annoying in that game. And
they are a pain in the ass in that game. Unless you're like 999, good luck. And you got lucky 7s across the board. I
feel like you pretty much have to be.
Yeah.
For them.
And you need the auto life as well. Oh gosh, I remember getting all that stuff. Ugh.
And it's like you would get the desert rose, right? And then you would have to try and get a gold chocobo just to be able to get over to that island to get that summon. But oh my god, that summon was so cool. Granted, it was really annoying to use more than once, just because like that summon scene was so long.
The cutscene's like 3 minutes long.
But it was so cool, man. Like all of the knights just come down and just go crazy. Like I was like, oh my god, what is this? Like, man.
I'm surprised that's the one summon we haven't seen again. Or like more prevalent. Like, is there other Final Fantasy games that have Knights of the Round? Or was this the only one?
I mean, it is also kind of weird having like Arthurian legends in a Final Fantasy game, but
that's true. But there's like, I mean, Alexander is kind of religious-y in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it has Hades in it. It has like all of the summons are basically based off of like mythology or religions around the world. So it's like it makes sense, but it is weird how we haven't seen that.
I mean, there's like 7 different types of Bahamut, so it'd be nice to have just a Knights of the Round again. I feel like this last one, 16, should have had Knights of the Round. I feel like that would have fit, or something
Dude, that would
like
have been
it.
crazy.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Just an endless onslaught of fighting the knights. That would have been cool.
Even if it was just like an end game, like last battle, this is the last sequence, right? Like, I feel like that would have been a really cool, just add on, something special for everyone. But it's okay. Yeah, worse things, right? But yeah, that no, I think with on top of the summons, there's some like really amazing things with 7 for sure, and I do feel like this, Rebirth is going to be a very different experience for most players. And from what I've heard from a lot of like game reporters and other podcasters that got their hands on the title early, it's it is a very different experience than what Remake had set in front of us. Because Remake was just Midgar. It was a fairly small-ish environment that you got to roll around in, and now, since the world is opening up, and this same thing happened in the original Final Fantasy VII, we go from such a small world that you're playing in for like 20 hours, right? And then all of a sudden, the world opens up to you, and there's a million different things to do. And they kind of hinted at some of the quirky aspects that you can have in this game, especially during the whole drag sequence with Cloud. The little mini games that you got to do with like the squats and all that stuff. It was there, but this other part of this game is very mini game heavy. There's a lot of like little distractions that you can go and do that add to the game and as a whole, but they're not requirements of the game themselves. And it's nice to be able to get lost in them. And I think because of those little distractions, those little mini games, it definitely was one of the first times that I played a game that I felt like I needed to know absolutely everything about it, right? Like having even like Yuffie and Vincent as missable characters. Like you can play the game and not get them. And like that's kind of it's weird that I don't think that games nowadays really have that. Like there are some like with your Star Ocean games that if you have a certain party member, you might not be able to get another one, right? That kind of aspect. But actual fully missable characters are something that's here. But besides that, I think the mini games themselves are going to be very prevalent, and it's going to throw a lot of people off for this one. I mean, hell, like to get Phoenix or to get Knights of the Round, like you said, like there's a lot of extra things that you have to do on top of that, and one of those is the mini game of like chocobo breeding and chocobo racing. And you have to do that to raise the chocobos to go get Knights of the Round, or in order to get Phoenix Summon, you have to play the Fort Condor minigame where you're just kind of playing like a tactics-y, like, I don't know how to explain it fully. It's kind of like a Space Invaders tactics fight simulator where you're guarding. It's like King of the Hill almost.
It's not like an RTS, but it's kind of close to it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bizarre, but you have to do that in order to get this summon. And you don't know you're going to get that. It kind of hints at it, right? There's a big Phoenix egg on top of Fort Condor. Kind of like shows you that maybe there's something there. But for people who've never played the game before, kid us who are just playing it, we didn't know that there was a summon up there. We just thought it was a cool place to go to. And here, there's something else that we get to do and have fun with. But I don't know. There's so many different types of mini games here. And I'm curious, like, is there a mini game that really stood out to you as one that you enjoyed playing more than others, or one that's just like really memorable?
I really like the snowboarding one because at the time I really liked snowboarding games.
Like SSX Tricky or 1080,
yeah,
right?
1080, baby. Dude, I love that game. I still have memories of playing that.
What happened to snowboarding games? They need to bring those back.
I mean, extreme sports just, I think, like, I know not recently, but in the 360, they tried to bring back SSX, and it was just, like, kind of mid. And then there was, like, some recent snowboarding game, I think Steep, that tried to make it kind of cool, but, oh yeah, Riders Republic. Yeah, it's, like, they don't really make games about it much anymore, but it's just like I feel like you can't really do a whole lot more with that genre, right? But yeah, that I secretly like the chocobo racing, even though I felt like it was very clunky.
Oh god, it was super funky.
Um,
But it
God, there
felt
was
good
one.
bringing in what you bred, right? Like actually putting in the work outside of the race and bringing in that stuff.
Hmm.
That part was nice. You actually felt like you like had a say in it, or you were like more invested in it, like being an actual like horse tamer almost, but with chocobos. And the
I like
music in the
the
race is great.
coaster.
The coaster's good. The track coaster, the shoot 'em up
Yeah,
one, or
I
yeah.
hated the squats.
Really? Oh gosh. I
I
love
actually
the
really did
squats.
like Fort Condor a lot.
Mhm. Condor's
Uh,
classic, and that's one that I definitely remember playing the most because after I think after the first time I did it, that was definitely one that now that I knew that had a summon in it, I'm like, okay, I need to get really good at this. And let me just like find the fastest way to like cruise through this and do it right the first time. So, the submarine game was hard. That
See,
one was
I
a
don't even
pain.
remember that. I'm looking at this picture of it, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
What was nice about the submarine game was that it was actually training you or teaching you how to deal with emerald weapon, because that is the only way to
Mm,
find emerald was in the ocean, and you have to take a
right.
submarine down there. So it was probably one of the only mini games, now I'm thinking about it, that had a direct correlation to the outside world,
Hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
But there's others, like the Mog House one. I remember that. And basically just trying to get a Moogle to fall in love with another one, and it's not really like a mini game, but you're
So you have
just
to
kind
like
of,
feed him.
yeah, you just keep feeding him
Oh
Koopa
yeah.
nuts until he can fly, and he's like feels brave and strong enough to ask for her. It's super goofy, but I like the fact that they had that little goofy aspect baked into this. It was really nice. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
I'm curious to see what they're gonna do in Rebirth with this because I'm pretty sure they're gonna include all of it, right? Like
they have to, especially
even
the G bike stuff. I mean, the bike was in remake, so they have to keep that going.
and I know they're adding a bunch. Like in the demo, they have it where you play the piano, right? Like so
Hmm.
basically, for those out there that haven't played the demo, you walk in the Tifa's house as a memory, and in her room you find a music sheet, and basically it's like I
Final
guess like
Heaven, right?
yeah, you're going to be able to
Yeah.
find song sheets around and you can play it on the piano. And the cool thing is there's a free play, and it's crazy the amount of like how you can change
Oh,
the
that's
pitch and
cool.
all this kind of stuff. So it's like if someone out there really wants to play around with this like piano that you can use with your joysticks and buttons, it's really awesome. Like I was really surprised how clever it was. I've never seen a piano played with a controller like that, so it was cool. But
I like
like
that
if
they
that's in there,
added
I'm like,
some actual meaning behind that, because that was how you got Tifa's final limit break. Um,
oh yeah, that's
was it
right.
Final Heaven or something? Yeah, I think it was Final Heaven. You have to find
I
her
think
music
so.
sheet and play it in her house. So the fact that they're getting, but that piano doesn't really play any part at all in the original game. You just kind of have to find the music sheet, remember and that there was a piano here, and go and play it. So the fact that they're
Hmm.
actually giving it a purpose, showing that you can do more with it, is gonna make it easier. I think if they do that right, it would be nice if they put in a little secret for Tifa there, like maybe new equipment, or even the final limit break again. Would be really cool. I like that they're allowing the player to be able to play the music there, like in Sky. Sky, you can leave music behind for other players, which I think is a
That's
really cool
right.
aspect. So if they do like a online version where you can actually listen to people's music that they've recorded and uploaded, that'd be really cool.
That or people are just gonna do some crazy songs on TikTok.
Oh yeah. I think that'll be nice.
Yeah.
So, is there anything in this new one that you are really excited to see? Like a cutscene or a memory that you're excited to relive and re-see, but in these new graphics and fully updated?
Honestly, it's just the exploration side of it. Because, I mean, that's my favorite thing with these games is the exploration, right? Especially back then where the overworlds looked very plain. There
Mm,
was, there was little hill shapes with grass on your way from Fort Condor to, you know, Junon, right? It didn't look like anything. But when you play the demo, it's like, wow, look at this. Like, it's crazy how the world looks in this, which my mind as a kid never connected the dots that it would look like that. And I think between that and kind of seeing what they do with like Vincent, I'm curious about it because I know Rebirth is supposed to take place up into the end of disc 1, right? And
mhm.
I mean disc 2 it's kind of lengthy too because I know disc 3 is just like the final battle, so it's not really that important, but I'm curious because my
'Cause
mind
Vincent kind of
I
just gets dropped in the original. There's not really like any
yeah.
lead up to it.
Well, it's like in the trailers, like the trailers I felt like were really weird that they were showing about this because there were times where I'm like, oh, they're kind of throwing some spoilers out there, especially when you like think back to the original. But at the same time, I'm also like, huh, this scene shouldn't be in disc 1.
Mm,
This was something that happened in disc 2. So I'm curious if they're going to merge and shorten some of the stuff. Because, I mean, there were some stuff in the original that felt like padding a little bit. But I guess, like, yeah, just seeing the towns. Like, I'm so curious about, like, Cosmo Canyon and Costa del Sol. And, yeah, it's weird because originally I wasn't really hyped for this game at all. Because
mm.
Remake was just kind of okay to me. But playing the demo, it just made me want to like get back into this world and see it in a different way, right? To see this world that I like deeply imagined as a kid, but lifelike is freaking bonkers. What about
Yeah.
you?
I'm really excited to see Cosmo Canyon with the planetarium. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very excited because that sequence was so memorable to me, and I want to see if Red 13's grandfather is going to be floating or a walking person, because that was always really weird to me. He had no legs; he just floated, and then they never explained that or never really got into that one. But there's one like pretty quick-ish sequence, but I'm excited to just see it fully rendered and see how they can get the mood just right of this sequence of whenever they come out the tunnel and they see the giant serpent like on a pike that Sephiroth put there, right? Like in the original game, that was such a very like intense moment of like, holy crap, this thing is that like Sephiroth is that powerful. So I'm just excited
Mm-hmm.
to see how they portray that message and how well it comes across this time. And I would love to if we're able to. Like, I hope they do it. But hearing the Genova song again, if we get to that, I think that would be amazing. Where we actually see and hear Genova's song in this new version of the game. I would be blown away, and I would absolutely love that. Like really diving into that aspect and just kind of like playing through that again because that's actually my favorite song, 100%. But now I'm actually very curious of because the way that they introduce Yuffie in remake, I feel like they're going to do the same thing with Vincent, where it's not a missable character. You're just going to kind of get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's just going to probably be the easiest way of doing it, and it makes sense because people aren't going, like you said, this might be their very first experience with Final Fantasy VII, so you can't really lean on that too heavy of this is only people who played the original that know to look here and they like go into this coffin and find him and say the right thing, right? Like there's a different fan base now playing this game, so I'm just excited to get my hands on it and play through it. And I can tell that the world is excited for this because if you Google Final Fantasy Rebirth right now, Google has a countdown. So that says a lot. Like there's actual just at the top of it before all the searches, there's a legit like day, hour, minute countdown just right there. So and that's cool. I think that's awesome. I love that they're doing that and they put that in for this game. It just shows how big it is. I know that they do that for other things, but I feel like it's for like big name movies or whatever it may be. But the fact that they actually have that for this game says a lot. And I'm really looking forward to it. This year has been a lot of fun with how big these RPGs are. And for me in general, a lot of the games I've been playing are JRPGs and RPGs again, like old and new. And it just feels like that's all I'm going to be playing this year. And I'm actually getting through them pretty quickly. So I'm very excited to be able to play through this one and dive into some of the other ones as well. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one for sure. And it's just going to be a blast to play through. I hope that the fans out there that are playing this are as receptive to it being kind of a weirder, different experience than Remake was, because it's just expanding on that world and looking at it as not just the same thing, right? Like now we are going into the open world exploration. Now we are getting introduced to these mini games and the aspect that you can do much more. And it's just a continuation of Remake. It's the same game, just more, right? And I hope that people are receptive to that and don't get turned off by that. So we'll see what the overall consensus is pretty soon here. But I have a feeling that no matter what, it's going to be huge and people are going to love it. So
I'm excited to see like the hype, right? I remember, obviously Remake was the first touch into this, but I feel like there's a lot more hype behind this release than Remake for some weird reason. I don't know why. Like I felt like Remake had a pretty big hype, but this one just seems to be where I'm hearing people that don't really play RPGs talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who was too young for the release of the original, I didn't get to witness like the supposedly like, I don't want to say pandemonium, but apparently this was really big when it came out, like in a surprising way. Because I mean, JRPGs weren't that massive out here back then, right? Like they came out here, yeah, but they weren't on like a global scale. And it's interesting when you look back, even celebrities, how they talk about this game, right? Like saying it was very inspirational to them. They learned a lot of things from it, and it's like, wow, like people I wouldn't expect played this game.
Yeah.
And I played it the first time when I played it like the fall, that summer, because I got it for my birthday, right? Because the original came out, I think 97, January 31st. So that summer I was able to play it. And, being like, I don't know, 8 years old, 7 years old, it was like, I didn't fully understand a lot of the themes going on in it. I was just like, oh, this is cool. It's a 3D RPG. Like, it was a new cool thing. And then I, once I got through the later Final Fantasies, right, like 8 and 9, I went back to 7 after having all this knowledge, and I just like really fell in love with it. Like it, even though like that old game looks really old, it still holds up. And I see people out there just not giving Remake a shot because it is different. And that's honestly how I was at first too. Like I remember being super excited for Remake and then playing it, and I didn't like it at first. I really didn't, because I didn't like the new direction, right? I was one of those people that was like, I wanted the original game just pretty. But as more time went on, I was like, the story is not that bad. I kind of like it. And as I learned more about what they're trying to do with these new characters they're adding in there, I was like, I like this. Like, obviously, I still think the original is better up until this point, right? After Rebirth, I'll see if my opinion changes, but I like that they're doing something new with it instead of just completely remaking the original. Because think about this 20 years from now, if we're all still alive, if games are still a big thing, if this was just a pure remake of the original, people would only probably see this, right? They wouldn't. Information about the original Final Fantasy would probably be so hard to find because who knows? There'll probably be spin offs of this game on top of it. And I think it's important to be able to know the difference between the remake and the original. And it's cool seeing this new take on it. And it makes me wonder, like, was this the original intent? I was trying to find a developer interview where, like, was this the original take on the game that they want to do this? Because I remember growing up reading that the original one was supposed to be where you were supposed to destroy more of those reactors before leaving Midgard.
Mm-hmm.
But they cut it.
Supposedly the Dementor stuff was in the original as well, and that got cut too.
Yeah, because it's like when you really dive into what the Dementors were for, it makes sense with the story. And that's why I didn't like it at first when I first played Remake, because I'm like, oh, this feels like Kingdom Hearts. Like,
yeah.
Why are these guys look like the organization? I don't like this. But when I learned what they're for, I'm like, that fills in some weird spots in the original that were just there but weren't really explained. And I do think that this remake is trying to fix those, like, plot holes. And, you know, I think a lot of people also get turned off by how they did the battle system in this, which I really like it. I hate that if I step away from it, I kind of forget the controls.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a nice take on that turn-based, right? Like, because it's still, to an extent, turn-based. Well, not turn-based, but it's trying to take the ATB, right? This is the modern take on it, where you can still attack and do all that kind of stuff, but to use your spells, you still have to fill that bar. And I like it. I personally like it better than 16's combat. And
it took a minute to get used to, but it is fun. It is enjoyable, and it reminds me of like the Xenoblade combat style, except for you have a little bit more control. So you can in Final Fantasy, you can actively be attacking on your own, whereas like Xenoblade, your character is auto attacking, and then your meter bars fill up, and you're able to do different movesets then. So it's like a more active Xenoblade. So
yeah, it's cool. I'm excited for this. I didn't think I would be, and I think that's, I don't know. It like you said with the RPGs too, it's like all this year, that's basically all I've been playing. And I've been kind of mixing some small stuff in between, but it's just like one after another. And I'm like, am I going to get burnt out? Like, I'm a little worried that I'll be like kind of exhausted with it. But at the same time, it's weird. It's like I got this like kick where I'm like, I just want to keep playing RPGs this year. Like, is this going to be the year I finally catch up on some that I've been wanting to? And, this year alone for new released RPGs, it's kind of insane how many good ones have come out already. And I'm excited for Rebirth. I can't wait.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to just, oh my gosh, yes. Please just bring more, and let's just keep doing with this. And bring back 9. Let's do that. Let's remake 9. Let's bring that into the modern era. We need to start that petition. Because the mods for it look amazing, so we need to make that into a full-fledged remake as well. Please. I need VV in this area too.
Yeah, anyway. That like Ultima mod or Ultimate thing that someone made.
It's so cool.
I think it was like an Unreal. Like, dude, yes, please. Also, real quick, I don't remember in the original, but under Junon, whatever you want to say it, I don't remember that under part of the city. So in the demo, I was like, there's an undercity? And then I just looked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, there was a little sector in that. It just wasn't called under Junon. I'm like, I don't remember this at all. Crazy.
Trying to think about that. Yeah, I
feel like most of the towns in the original I have burned in my mind, but I'm like, I do not remember this at all. But yeah, crazy.
Weird. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little conversation as we dive into our memories behind Final Fantasy VII, as we talk about Rebirth coming out right around the corner. It's going to be a crazy fun ride. But yeah. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week with some more games and all that good stuff. But until then, bye for now.